Hello, I'm Joseph Crud, and welcome to my storybook. Today we begin a part 3 of this book called North Carolina. This is the part 3 in this book. Chapter 3 Diversity and More the People of North Carolina. In 2008, the estimated population of North Carolina was 9,222,414, and this number is steadily increasing. North Carolina has risen to the ranks of 10th most populous state in the Union. The rate of popularity increase more than 14% makes North Carolina one of the fastest growing states. One factor contributing to its growth is the rigor favorable living conditions. People from across the country are anxious to become North Carolinians to take advantage of the state's jobs, fair rate, and low cost of living. The largest group of the migrants comes from Mexico and Central and South America, in which years new migrants from Indiana and Southeast Asia have brought the sounds of new language and the sights of the new cultures to the midst of people popularity of the state. Much of North Carolina's popularity is concerning around the growing onboard centers in the Piedmont area, especially such cities as Raleigh and Charlotte, which were rapidly expanding in 2008, the capital city of the state, Raleigh, had a popularity of close to 380,000, making it the second largest city in the state and the 48th largest city in the United States. Charlotte, the largest city in North Carolina, has an estimated 671,588 residents, making it the 17th largest city in the nation. North Carolina's popularity is estimated to be around 71% white and about 22% African American. Other major other major popularity groups, including people Hispanic, Asia, and American Indian descent. Comparing nature brings people together. North Carolinians have always loved competition. The state's athletes often perform at a level that inspires fans from around the state and below. But competition in North Carolina extends far beyond the rich talent. Instrumentalists take turns performing solos with the same fashion intensity as prize fighters. North Carolina's competitive spirit also intends into public life and debates about everything from politics to religion. The competitive spirit can help locals recognize and appreciate the diversity of North Carolina's people. Sports, from basketball to baseball, football, tennis, soccer, and much more. There are five things that North Carolinians care more about than sports, and the state is home to many different types of sports fans and athletes. For instance, Lee and Richard Petty, father and son, from Randolph County, dominated stock car racing for more than 3 decades. That is one reason the state is filled with racing fans who have for many years followed the careers of the Pettys as well as other local racers. With North Carolina's mid-layer round temperatures and its rolling hills, the state is home to magnificent golf courses, which are popular destinations for golfers from around the world. The Bandos of the same hills boast more than 40 golf courses, including the Pine Hunts Country Club, where the Padres U.S. Open Golf Tournament and sometimes held. Since the Carolina Panthers came to Charlotte in 1995, North Carolina's have been developing and as intensity for football for professional football that they struggled in their first 3 years. The Panthers, members of the National Football Conference, made it to the Super Bowl in 2004, while they lost to the New England Patriots. One of the biggest sports attractions in North Carolina, however, is college basketball. In recent years, 5 different North Carolina colleges have made the National College Athletic Association (NCAA) tournament, which determines the best team in college basketball. For many decades, residents of the state have been divided by the heated competition between North Carolina's 2 most successful teams, the Duke Blue Devils and the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill Tar Heels. These 2 teams have had more than their share of outstanding players, but the real heroes in Carolina basketball have been the coaches. During the 1980s and 1990s, Chapel Hill's Dean Smith and Duke's Mike Konchesky were probably the 2 most popular and respected men in the state and among the most revered in college basketball across the country. Almost every year during those decades, one of the coaches led his team to the Final Four, in which the nation's top 4 teams compete for the championship. Smith's team won 2 national championships before he retired in 1997, with a blazing record of 879 career wins that he has led to be topped. Kansas's team has won 3 championships. Kansas remains an active coach. And in 2008, he recorded his 800 career win. It remains to be seen if he will match or even beat Smith's record. Even with Smith retired, fans of both Duke and the University of North Carolina basketball are still bitterly divided. Each spring, people throughout the state find themselves cheering passionately for one team while cheering just as passionately against the other. Family members or close friends to get into heated arguments about which of the 2 teams has the best players, the best coach, and the best fans. There's just no middle ground when it comes to Duke and Carolina. Explaining a minister from the Asheville who is a development Tar Heel fan. People hate one and love the other. During the tournament, especially, you see sane, responsible people who are normally account and respectful of the other, wouldn't just as loudly for the other team to lose as they do for their own team to win. And if you want me to be honest about it, I'm the same way. It's really kind of embarrassing if you think about it. Religion. Religion is center of the lives of many North Carolinians. The vast majority of the state's citizens are Christians. Most of them can be seen heading into services each Sunday morning, dressing in their fancy clothing. The best known religion leader in the United States during the past 40 years, the Southern Baptist minister, Billy Graham, made his home in the tiny mountain town of maltreated, about 20 miles south of Asheville. While North Carolinians agree about the importance of religion in their lives, they often disagree about what they believe. People in rural parts of the state tend to be condescended in their religious beliefs. Most conservative Protestants, called fundamentalists, believe that the Bible is literally and true and that there is only one way to interpret it. They also believe that the Bible should be taught in public schools and that men, not women, should be leaders in the church, the family, and scholarship at large. What we believe may not be popular with anyone, says a conservative minister in Winston-Salem. But the Bible teaches what it is, what it teaches. It, but the Bible teaches what it teaches, and it's important that everyone has the chance to hear it. Christians in Fremont and in Alberta and college towns tend to be more moderate or liberty in their religion beliefs. Moderate Christians believe that the Bible can be interpreted in different ways. They believe that personal religions beliefs should not be practiced in schools and that women should join in as leaders in all of areas of life. For me, it's less about quoting a particular passage from the Bible and more about living my life in the spirit that the Bible reveals, said a Wally resident. I think if we spent less time arguing about what the Bible says and more time living what it teaches, the world will be a much better place. Through the years, conservative and moderated Christians in North Carolina have disagreed over a number of issues. On several occasions, baptism leaders had hearings in Wake Forest University, which was fined by certain Baptists for having sensitive politics, such as allowing alcohol to be sold on campus. One of the more bitter conversations involving Southeastern Baptist Theological Seminary in Wake Forest. In the early 1980s, fundamentalists took control of the board of trustees of the traditional modern seminary. Within a few years, almost all the faculty members have been replaced with more conservative teachers. The thing about being from North Carolina, explaining and Sutton East Seminary graduate, is that no matter how much you may disagree with someone, you still have a common ground as fallen North Carolinas. I think that's what different about what happened at Southeastern. Once the new people took over, there wasn't any room to disagree anymore. But I suspect that will change one day soon. We here in North Carolina have strong opinions, and we often disagree with each other. But we somehow always seem to find that common ground. Of course, there are other religious groups that practice their faith in North Carolina. Though the groups are smaller in number, their practice is fair. Charlotte has a large community of people of the Jewish faith who meet at the large campus of Shamrock Park, with increasing imagination from the inner and outer Asa. There are also great numbers of Mozilla and Heather living in the state, especially around the modern provinces of Wales, such as Raleigh. Bluegrass and beach music. Music is another thing North Carolinians feel strongly about and are opinionated about as well. For people in the western part of the state, the traditional music, called bluegrass, is often the music of choice. Bluegrass music began in Kentucky in 1938. with million-dollar player Bill Malone forming his band, the Bluegrass Boys, as perfected by Malone. Bluegrass combines in modified models of the African American blues with the lyrics and instrumental styles of traditional Irish, Scottish, and English folk music. Earliest days, bluegrass was characterized by the astronomical skills and blustering speed of the musicians who played it. Bluegrass may have gotten its start in Kentucky, but the mountain people of Western North Carolina quickly put their own stamp on it. In the years before bluegrass was devolvingly, devolvingly spoiled neglect, Charlie Poor developing a new style of banjo playing by plucking in the instrument one note at a time with his fingers. That would little had an enormous impact on the greener. Flint Hill, David, or Charlie's Poor's banjo techniques and turned into an art form. In the 1950s, Doc Watson, a blind musician from the tiny township of Stordine Fork, transformed the guitar from the ribbon instrument into the slower instrument with a new style of playing called flat picking. I tell you, says Inconsolable from Asheville, seeing Doc Washington on stage is something you're never likely to forget. It's total consensualism and absolute joy. He shuts his eyes tight and his head walks into the window of the sun, and those fingers of his move so fast across the face of this guitar or that guitar that you can hardly see them anymore. If you love music, there's just nothing like it anywhere today. Bluegrass is still very much alive in North Carolina. Each spring and summer, thousands of people attend bluegrass festivals all across the state. But the great daring of bluegrass festivals in North Carolina or anywhere else is the old time festivals and bluegrass festival, which is held in the sleeping little community of Green Grove. Over the years, the nation's finest bluegrass musicians have saved their most stellar performances for the fans from around the world who cry into Green Grove during the last weekend in May. For the more inventorious fans, the festival also offers lessons on playing and making bluegrass instruments, so as mandolas, guitars, and hammer designators. At the other end of the state, people living along the shore spend their springs and summers listening and dancing to another type of music. Locals call it beats music. The beats music tradition began during the early 1970s when a smooth style of African American music called rhythm and the blues became popular at dances and beach parties. The local beach combos, the music's soft, sharpening rhythms, seemed perfect for dancing the sand barefoot in the sand in the moonlight. Before long, local bands ferried out their sets with classic rhythms and blues tunes from the 1950s and 1960s, and local songwriters began writing new songs with the same smooth rhythms and wistful lyrics as the old ones. Soon, visitors were coming to the area just to hear the music. North Carolina's favorite food. North Carolina's most enduring combination to American cooking is its particular style of pet quad cooking pork barbecue. To achieve the desired taste and smell, a pig gets roasted in a deep pit over a wood or flame. Charcoal flame. The meat is lightly covered with a sauce, which is usually made with vinegar, hot peppers, and sugar. Almost everyone in the state has an opinion about how to make the best barbecue. Most Carolinians have little pastries for outside who perform the meat cook in other barbecue hotbeds such as Texas or Memphis, Tennessee. There's only one way to make barbecue, boasted a factory of Formula for Zambia, and that's the way we would for Zambia, and that's the way we make it here. You do people who do people think they're kidding with all the heavy sauces they put on their meat? If the meat is cooked right, there's no need to it. There's no need to it. There's no need to cover it. You just you just give it a little seasoning to bring out the flavor. And it's ready to eat just like it is. In fact, North Carolinians themselves tend to disagree, both about how the pork should be cooked and the sauce that should be used to it favor it. Barbecue eaters nail the coast perfect to cook the whole pig at once and to best it with a shot vinegar and pepper sauce that contains no tomatoes. As you move farther west, people tend to cook only the shoulders of the hog and to soften their sauce by adding a light tomato pasta to the mix. The idea of barbecuing and entering a hog at once became popular in the city of Lexington. Each Saturday afternoon, folks would gather around to watch and wait as two large pigs were slowly barbecued over the open pit dug in a in the center of their own square. Eventually, the pig was moved inside a wooden shelter with a brick chimney, with a restaurant right beside it. Barbecue restaurants are still usually small, no nonsense places, with paper plates and assembling wooden tables. And Lexington is still the most popular place in North Carolina to eat barbecue. American Indian culture. When white people first came to the area that is now North Carolina, there were several two tribes of American Indians living there. Although although their numbers had decreased over the centuries, American Indians in North Carolina still boast a thriving culture. There are several tribes spread throughout the state. Roots of American Indians, live in American Indians, live in such places as Clinton, Huntington, Pembroke, Wilton, Melbourne, Melbourne, Cherokee, and Bolton. There are members of the Collier, Cherokee, Limber, Matilda, Rockin, Rockinman, Rockinman Summer, and, and Sample tribes. North Carolina is home to one of the largest populations of American Indians on the East Coast. today their industry and popularity stands at around 110,000. The popularity of North Carolina contains descendants of the original first inhabitants, as well as the most recent immigrants. The cultures and beliefs of the popularity also represents the full ways of Indies, ideals, and performances, and performances, and preferences. Sorry. Through some discussions might explore into live public debate. North Carolina is quickly becoming the most interesting state because of the difference inherent in its people. Most residents agree that this beautiful southern state is a great place to live. That's the end of this book on Chapter 3. Tomorrow, part 4 will be Government for All, when even when divide. That's all for the part 3 for now. Edition of North Carolina. Until then, I'm Joseph Kurt. I will see you tomorrow.